What's up guys, it's Reese's. Time for a ring tutorial. This time, flat front reverse. Now, before you get started, you got a couple decisions to make when you're learning this, because there are a number of different methods to do this trick. My method is the full overhead version, in which you catch the ring on the bottom and throw it from the bottom in exactly the same position. The other main method is to catch them on the top of the ring as they're coming down. I don't like this method, but I'll explain the benefits and downsides later. And I've seen one other method that I don't really think anyone should use, but it's a legitimate method, and it's to catch on the outside and turn the ring 180 degrees and throw it again. All are fine. I will explain the benefits to each one. First, the full overhead method. It's a lot simpler and easier to understand than any of the others, plus it's faster. But it leads to a faster pattern, and that's about all that I can think of for downsides. The upsides of using the inverse catch, where you catch it on the top of the ring as it's coming down, the benefit is it leads to a slower pattern. The downside is, and another upside is, it looks prettier. I don't think I could argue with that. But the downside of it is it leads to a lot less control, because there are many more variables. The first variable is, where do you catch the ring? Do you catch it at the top, or 15 degrees to the side? Or wait, that's not 15, that's 90 degrees to the side. Sorry, I got my math mixed up. Where do you catch it? And more importantly, once you catch it, how do you get a hold of it? Because you're catching it in a weird method. As where, if you catch it overheads, it hits you right on the ball of your hand. I think that's basically the base of your thumb, and this section of your hand right here, the outside bottom of your palm, which has very few nerve endings as far as I can feel. So that doesn't hurt as much to catch overheads like that. Catching the topside version hurts a hell of a lot more, because you're catching it on the inner knuckles of your fingers. So that's more prone to being painful, plus I think it has less control. But that's another bit. Yeah, I think that's it for the downsides of this maneuver. So, catching it this way, it's less painful, faster, and a simpler way to do it. Catching it this way leads to less control, but a much prettier and much slower pattern. So it evens out that way. I haven't practiced the other method where you catch on the outside and turn 180. So I'm not going to pretend to know the benefits of that move. Just try it out, see if you like it. If you like it, great. If not, that's it. Now, the main thing you have to think about when you're doing this move is there's a misconception here. People think it's a two-dimensional pattern, that the rings stay in the same plane. That's what the juggler, when he's juggling in front of a non-juggling audience, wants them to think. Because, have you ever seen a flat front done from the side? No, you haven't. I guarantee you haven't. But basically, if you take a look at it from the side, and I'll see if I can get closer to you and exaggerate it a bit, it is nowhere near two-dimensional. Whoop, I'm exaggerating too much. Basically, you'll notice there are a couple different ways to do this. What's the word I'm looking for? The most elegant method, yeah, I think that's the right word, or the proper method, that's the word I'm looking for, is to throw the rings from back to front, so that they create, if you're looking straight up, it creates a cascade going that way. Or, well, not a cascade, but an X going that way, where you catch them where you throw them from behind, they cross in front of you, and you catch them out here. Ready, pull them back, and do it again. That's the way I do it, and the way that you'll probably fall into once you've practiced this move for a little while. The easiest, of course, the thing is that's a hard technique to get into your muscle memory at first, so I don't recommend that beginners start with this method. What I would recommend is you start by picking one hand and saying this hand is always going to throw in front of the other and always throw parallel so that it looks a lot like this. Kind of like a half shower, the way it would work, and I'm really exaggerating here because it's so natural for me now to do the crossing. But you see how it works. The right hand is always being thrown in front, and the right hand and the left hand is always throwing behind. It's easier to understand, but it's harder to do, I think, and it doesn't look as pretty. But that's what I would suggest for beginners. Until you get this motion into your muscle memory, do one side in front. That way you can get used to the way it feels, and then try doing it like an X. And that's how you do full reverse. Of course, you do the same thing with when you're doing 4, is it would be, you've got two hands, and it's like a fountain. You go, actually I should be doing it with this hand, or just this way. They go from front to back, or columns, or back to front. Whichever method you want is good. Any way you can find to make it work, great, make it work. The bottom line is, this is not an easy move. Well, it is, but you know what I mean. It takes a lot of getting used to. So, good luck with it, and I'll see you next time.